Hey everyone, Ashley here. Welcome to Ashley Talks Movies, and welcome to my review of Titanic. Now, I've seen this movie before, but I wanted to do a review since the movie was re-released in theaters for its 25th anniversary, and this was the first time I've seen the movie in theaters since it was released in 1997. I've seen it numerous times between then and now, but I really wanted to revisit this film. So that's what this review is me revisiting Titanic. It's directed by James Cameron, and the movie tells a story of a young woman named Rose who falls in love with an artist named Jack while aboard the ill-fated R.M.S. Titanic. Before I get into the review, if you would like to support the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Also hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the videos I'm posting. Time for the review. As I said in my intro, Titanic has been re-released in theaters for its 25th anniversary, and this is a movie that I enjoyed back when I first watched it in 1997, and enjoyed all the other times that I've watched it between then and now. And I really wanted to revisit this film because, it's a film that I've enjoyed, but also, this is a film that when it came out, went on to become one of the biggest blockbusters of all time, one of the highest grossing movies of all time. And it's had so much impact in popular culture. And so I wanted to revisit it. So I went to the theater and I watched the movie. And I have to say, Titanic is still a movie that I adore. It's a film that I really love. And I think it still holds up really well. Watching the movie again in theaters on a big screen really solidified to me what a marvel this movie is. And you can really appreciate what it does in terms of the story, the visual effects, and also, how this movie has sort of lived on in pop culture ever since it was first released. Now, Titanic was a real ship, and it did sink. So that part of it is historical and factual. But I really liked how James Cameron took this real life historical event, and weaved in this fictional story to kind of draw audiences in. This movie starts off with a dive crew that's looking for the wreckage of the Titanic. They happen across a woman who says that she was on the Titanic when it sank, and they interview her, and she basically tells them the story of her time on the Titanic. This woman happens to be an older Rose, that's later revealed. So she talks about her time on the ship. And so you get to learn about Rose and about her romance with Jack Dawson, an American who's an artist who's been kind of going around Europe. And you also get to learn about the ship through the stories of these different people who are on it. They're fictional people, but you still get to learn these stories. You have some really great acting in this movie. Kate Winslet stars as Rose, Leonardo DiCaprio stars as Jack. And, watching this film again, it's like you see how their careers have gone on to be very successful since this movie, but they're still very, very good in this movie. Like, even though this is, earlier in their career, they both offer fantastic, fantastic performances, especially Kate Winslet, who holds this movie together. I mean, this is a story about the Titanic, but it's really a story about Rose's time on the Titanic, what she saw, what she learned, what she did, what happened to her during this moment. And Kate Winslet's fantastic. She gives this really great performance. You really feel for Rose because she's this character that is seemingly trapped in her life. She has basically everything you would think most people want to have. She has access to wealth, and she lives this really fabulous life, but she is unhappy with all of it. And you start to see why she's unhappy with all of it. And then, of course, Jack comes along and essentially kind of saves her, from all this. And then Leonardo DiCaprio is fantastic as Jack. He just has this charm and exudes this charm, and it really comes across. And of course, Leonardo DiCaprio is just a fantastic actor anyway. And then you have a whole bunch of really fantastic actors in this movie in supporting roles. You have Kathy Bates and Billy Zane, and Victor Garber, like all these different people, and they all do such a great job with these characters, and they really make them memorable. For a film that has so many different characters that come in and out of the story, every single one of them feels fully developed, three-dimensional, characters, and which is hard to do when you have so many different characters and you're trying to tell a story. You cannot talk about Titanic without talking about the visual effects. This movie, even going back and watching it again, this movie is still so epic in terms of the visual effects and the CGI that it uses. This is a film where there were sets that were built for the ship. There were tanks built for the water scenes, but then there was also a lot of CGI that was used to recreate the ship. And watching the film again, it does really hold up pretty well. I mean, it's kind of like when you go back and watch Jurassic Park and you see those visual effects. Yeah, they're dated, but they still hold up pretty well, especially when you consider when that movie came out and when those visual effects were used. Same thing here with Titanic. Like, this was a film that was, pushing the boundaries of what you could do with visual effects, at the time. And even today, watching it, you see just how great those visual effects were and how much time and energy and money was spent on those visual effects, and how well James Cameron used those visual effects to tell the story. And of course, Titanic has its pop culture impact as well. I said before, this movie went on to be one of the highest grossing movies of all time. It's lived on in the pop culture conversation. Jack saying, "I'm king of the world," has, been memed and quoted and mocked for years since it came out. Celine Dion's song "My Heart Will Go On" also just was played repeatedly, and it's still to this day, it's just one of those memorable songs. You also have different moments from this movie being quoted, or you could recognize if someone recreated it, just because, again, Titanic just captured this moment. And also, this is a movie that when it came out was seen by a lot of people. And many of those people went and saw this movie multiple times in theaters. I saw it at least twice. And then when it came out on VHS, and it was the 2 VHS tapes in the box, I watched it many times at home. But there were people who I remember seeing on TV, like on the news and stuff, where they would interview people, and there were like these teenagers who had seen this movie 7 times, 10 times. And it just, people kept watching it. It was something that really spoke to a lot of different people. The story either drew them in, or the visual effects drew them in. And so overall, this movie is just wonderful. It's really wonderful. And even if you don't love the story, you don't think it's that great, you can appreciate what James Cameron did here in terms of the visuals. So those are my thoughts on Titanic. If you've had a chance to see the film either before or now as part of the 25th anniversary re-release, share your thoughts in the comment section below. While you're here, like this video, hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this.